Happy Friday, guys. It's Diva, and I'm here to give you a message, and I'm excited to bring it. I am too excited because, listen, I know earlier this week I gave you guys a video in which, it said, this feels like hell, of course. And then, I just kind of got this epiphany today. Actually, the Holy Spirit gave me this message to where, you really are blessed. You know that, right? And I'm like, whoa, yeah, let me see. Okay, so I started to think, it's many things that we could complain about in this life of ours. We can complain about all the things that are going wrong, and we can think about the things that could have went right, that we could have changed, the things we could have changed. But oftentimes we don't realize that whatever happened was meant to happen. Remember that, okay? Remember that pinpoint, that whatever was meant to happen, it was meant to happen. Whatever happened was meant to happen, okay? So listen. Let's go ahead and get started, and I'm gonna tell you guys about my epiphany, the Holy Spirit opening my eyes to see. Because listen, I keep thinking about, all the times when I started. Spirit actually brought me back to when I started this channel, and I was very naive, but I was so pure and innocent. Nobody's innocent, but you know what I mean. Just let me tell my story. And, the few people that came, I was so happy just to get one or two people to come and listen to my videos. And the things about it, it was this is cool, having interactions with other people, of course. And then, I started to get a little greedy and start to think I need more subscribers, I need more views, I need more of this, more of that. And, it got to where it was let me grab for what I feel like I'm supposed to have, rather than thinking about what I should have, the small audience I had already. So I started to think my views were going down, my views, and stuff, what's really going on. I always think this each year, it becomes something that happens a certain part of the year, what's really going on. But I started, Spirit brought me back to the time when I first started. You're happy, you're excited, you're starting your channel, or you're starting your journey, and you just want to tell people about your testimony, your situation, the things that you're doing, and getting it out there. And so I had to open my eyes and see that, listen, even though you may not have as many people that are around you that are supporting you, you have at least you have the Most High first and foremost. Let me throw that out there. You have the Most High who's supporting you and there for you. He says, I'll never leave you nor forsake you. And that is so freaking true. That's the truth. So those, the small audiences, sometimes those are the people who need to hear you the most. It's not always those that's going to come in and kind of cloud your judgment, the things that they say, and it makes you feel well, maybe you're not doing it right. It actually makes you start to, doubt yourself. And so I had to realize, listen, that's not what you want. You don't want that. You want to be so thankful for the small things that you have going on in your life, rather than thinking about the things that, all of that extra stuff. Just put it that way. So you guys know I moved from Louisiana to Florida, right? And so that life was in between that Louisiana life, I kind of started to think wow, this is small for me. It's time for me to move to somewhere bigger, something, somewhere where it's a lot of flow of energy, people being around. And I just started to think that, so I got the, traveling there, and I liked it and I loved it. I fell in love with it, y'all, seriously. And then I got there and it was amazing. But after a while, it's okay, something's not right. This ain't for me. I just started to think, especially, the environment where I was, something wasn't right. And I started to see a lot of spiritual warfare in that area. And I'm what is going on? It was attack after attack. And it was the same thing with people, getting out amongst other people. other people were so to themselves, like they were afraid to speak, afraid to say something to you, you know, and they would do that to everybody. It wasn't just me. It was just like, what the hell? Like, why are people so not like this when, you know, the people back from home, it's like, hey, how you doing? You know, it's like all of that, you know, they're very inviting. And I love that about people. And that's the way that the most high, that God's people are. You know, we're supposed to be outgoing and, you know, be inviting so that we can you know, give the perception that, you know, this is the love of the Most High, right? That was just tough. That whole transition is tough, like seriously. And so like I'm thinking back now, like I'm like looking at movies that have been showing me like it's the smaller things. It's not always, you know, going into the big city. Sometimes it's the smaller things. Don't forget where you came from. Y'all know the term. Don't forget where you came from. So I had to bring myself back to that. Like, don't forget in all aspects of life, like in all aspects of life, don't forget about where you came from, honey. Like you used to be here, now you're there, you know. Don't forget about, you know, that small stuff that brought you out of there. Like those times you spent with the people that you love, and the times that you know, you had that channel that was smaller, but those people were really loving on you. You know what I'm saying? They really accepted you. Those are the smaller things that we have to focus on. Like, thank God for growth, but also thank God for those small things that brought us out of that. Okay. And don't be so upset about if he takes you back there to remember where you came from, to actually get you to realize that you're actually blessed both ways, right? It's so easy to get tempted by the finer things in life. It's tempting. It's really something that we all want. We know we want a better life. We know we want the house, the you know, the car, you know, our children to be happy. We want to be happy. We want that lover who's gonna love for us. We all want that. But what happens when none of that happens, or one of those things that doesn't happen? Are you upset? Do you get mad at God? Do you get mad at yourself? Do you give up? Like, what do you do? So when you get to that point, when you're feeling the lowest, like this is just not happening, we have to sit back and realize, like, listen, maybe this is not what the Most High wants for me. Maybe I wasn't listening the whole time. Maybe I need to connect myself and, you know, get back to what I was doing in the beginning. Like, where did I start from? How did the Most High change my life in the beginning? You know, and that's what I had to think, like, okay, well, maybe I need to think about that, you know? So opening my eyes to realize that, first of all, there are certain things we just can't change. It's just not changeable. And when we came here on this earth, we never knew what we would go through. But sometimes people think, you know, some of us think that, you know, we chose our life before we got here. So let's just say that that's what happened. Okay, so we chose to come here and live that life, and, you know, whatever challenges, we saw it before, right? And then we chose to come. Okay, so say for instance, okay, now what you're going through is a part of that journey, but your journey is like, okay, well, what are you fighting for? Like, what are you fighting about? Like, if that's the part of the journey that Spirit showed you ahead of time, what are you fighting about? What are you worried about? Why are you so stressed? Because you know that he will never leave you nor forsake you, right? And he knows what he's doing. So therefore, at this point in time, we just have to stand here and realize, you know, he says, be still and know that I'm God. Be still and know. So you're still, right? And you're thinking like, what? This went wrong. This didn't go right. This didn't happen. What is really wrong? Did I do something wrong? No, maybe you didn't do anything wrong. Maybe what happened was to get you to a place where you are closer and nearer to the divine. To get you to see that the smaller things in life are what's great. Like, remember when Jesus started his ministry, he started, you know, ministering to people in the church, and his first thing was to turn the water into wine. Like, who does that? Like, I mean, that's amazing, right? So if you look back at that, and then, you know, at the end of the life, you know, even though he went through all of these treacherous times where he had people, you know, neglecting him. They praised him at one minute, then they started to neglect him and talk about him and actually reject him, you know? And so thinking of that, how are we so special that we're not going to go through that too? Right? How can we be that special that we won't go through that too? He said this wouldn't be easy. This life is not going to be that easy, you know, but he will be here with us and give us the peace. And first and foremost, let me tell you, peace is like the number one thing. Like if you can be going through the toughest time and you receive that peace, that divine peace that just kind of comes over you and makes you feel like you're just on cloud nine, and you're like, I'm going through this, but this peace right here, oh my God, it's good. It's a good feeling. And see, that's the thing about people that drink and smoke and all of that. They're trying to get that peace and they can't get it. But when you're connected, that peace comes to you naturally. Might I say supernaturally. And it comes to you and you're like, wow, this is amazing. No matter what I'm going through right now, this right here is amazing. Okay. So thinking on that, we might go through a lot of things, but the Most High gives us that peace that we need no matter what it is. And even when we feel like we're at our wits end, right? We think we're there, but that's not it. That's not true. We're not at our wits end. It's only what we're seeing. That's why he says, walk by faith and not by sight. So when we look in the natural, we tend to feel like it's over with. It's done. This is over with. No, it's not. Supernaturally, God is doing something amazing to bring you the peace that you need, everything you need in life, right? Because you have what you need, but you want more, right? It's something that you want. But our needs are always taken care of if we look at it from a different perspective. You can even say now that you actually lived through the C-19. You're actually still here. Like, you're going to be able to live a life and tell your grandchildren, your children, your great-grandchildren that you lived through C-19 and you weren't tripping. Like, I mean, you may have went through some things during that time. You may have went through the solitude, the time of solitude where spirit just pulled you to yourself. Because of course we were in, you know, the Q word. We were in that, you know, we had to be in the house, you know, we had to wear a mask. And some of the things we did not want to do, child, I'm telling you, I ain't want to do it. I was like, bro, we can't travel right now. Like, we can't do this. Because y'all know I was living my best life, getting on the plane, going places and traveling, going everywhere. But the thing about it, you can live to say that you got through that situation. You got through that time. Because he always carries us. He's always like there. And we don't see it. So when we're going through our tumultuous times and we feel like we're at our lowest and we can't get through it, and it feels like we just want to give up, and ain't nobody around us trying to help us. They don't, even the ones around us, they don't understand the things we going through. You know how it gets. It's like, don't nobody understand my struggle, period, right? We be like that. We be like that, because I be like that too. And I was just like that a couple of days ago. But God, okay? But now I see, my eyes are open. I asked the Most High, remember on that video, I was like, Lord, open our eyes. Like, we need to see something, you know what I'm saying? He opened my eyes to see that we are not at our worst. We are getting better. Things are getting better. We are given grace. Life is good. We're happy. We got to get ourselves and pull ourselves up out of that place where the enemy tries to make you feel like you ain't going to be able to do nothing. Where he wants to make you feel like everybody's against you. You know what I'm saying? Honey, ain't nobody against you. Not when the Lord is with you. If God be for me, who can be against me? Period. Ain't none of that real. That ain't nothing but an illusion that the enemy tries to show you, because your homegirls or your old homegirls, they hanging out. It's a whole bunch of them and you by yourself. Your homeboys, they get together and hang out, go shooting hoops, playing pool, all of that, all of them together, but you feel like you by yourself. See, that's what the enemy does. And I realize that he wants to pull you to yourself a lot of times to make you feel like you're deserted and rejected. But that ain't what it is. That ain't what it is. The Most High wants you to know that you are not alone. You're not in this by yourself. You are definitely being an uplift to a lot of people. So once you start to speak out and let people know that you are, you know, you may be going through some things, people will lift you up. They will lift you up. I received a message from my mom earlier this week, and she, it was saying, actually, I think it was yesterday, and it said, tell people about what you're going through. Go to someone who you can trust to tell about what it is that you're going through. Don't keep it inside. Don't keep it silent. Don't isolate yourself from other people just because you know you're going through it. Let somebody know. Because not everybody knows. A lot of people are going through things themselves and they don't talk about it. They're just quiet. They're going through things too. So they're not really paying attention to your struggle. So the point being is, when you speak to someone who you can trust about what you're going through, they can lift you up. And you can lift them up while they're going through it. It all comes together. It all works together, because iron sharpens iron. Y'all know that. So if you can find a trusted friend, even if you have to talk to somebody you don't even know, maybe you just want to step in, you know, somebody say, hey, how you doing? Well, today this and that, you know, you may just want to speak to somebody. Just talk. Don't be silent. Don't keep that stuff in, because when you keep it in, it just it starts to boil. You know, it becomes like a boil. Like when you're boiling water and you have that top on there and that water just starts to bubble out. You have to kind of open that top so it won't, you know, burst. Let someone know what you're going through so you can get that out there, and they can, you know, pray with you, or either, you know, at least be concerned and keep you in their thoughts. And therefore you can be lifted up. And so that's what I realized. Like, I do have to start doing that a little bit more, because being quiet and being silent about your struggle ain't cool. It ain't. It's not. You know, we can try to, you know, make it look good. Somebody in the comments told me, they said, I wouldn't have even known. If I would have looked at you on these videos, I would have never known you was going through it. That's why we so good at masking ourselves and masking our feelings that we don't tell anyone. And it can be detrimental to our mental state, right? So it's always good to talk about it, whether you can talk about it and record it. Like, you don't have to show anybody. Maybe you can just talk about it. The Most High hears you. So when you're recording it, you look back at it and you say, you know, I was going through this situation. It was that for me. But now, since I spoke about it, the Most High hears us. And he comes and he sends people to us. And I'm so thankful for that, because he'll send people to you to help lift you up, to help you in those times of need. Definitely. That's a release. That's a relief, right? A relief out of this world. So remember what I told you in the beginning, that, you know, it's the smaller thing. Don't forget where you came from. Because if you look back, when you first began to feel that peace that you need, that inner peace that you needed, think back on it. Think back on what you were doing then. Think back on the time you started that business and you were so excited about it. You gave the urge and you start to put in the work. Think back on that. Think back on the times when you were raising those children, even though they're grown now. Think back on those times, those good times y'all had together, and you can actually relive those moments with them. You know, you're fortunate to do that. Relive those moments. Okay, let's get together for a family gathering. Okay, we're going to get together. We're going to have a good time. You know, you might not be able to see them every day or whatever. And even when you started that relationship, you were so excited, right? Some of you guys probably were afraid as hell, right? You may have been afraid, like, I don't know about this one. But when you got to the point where you were just like, oh my God, this relationship is amazing. This is the one I want to be with. I'm good. I'm happy. Like, think back on that and get into that energy again. Remember the times. when it first started, when it all first started, to lift you back up again. Don't forget about where you came from. Because now you may be in your tough season. You may be struggling, going through some hard times, feeling alone. But think about on the good old days. Think about the good times. Think about the time when you first called on the name Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, think back on that. And like, oh my God, that's where that relief comes in. It's such a sweet relief. I just wanted to come on here and let you guys know how, you know, this week has changed. I'm much better than I was before. And I'm so grateful for the prayers of those who were here to pray for me. People who, you know, reached out to me. Those that, you know, lifted me up. And I'm so thankful for the Most High and the Holy Spirit lifting me up. I'm so thankful because we are so protected that we don't even know it. We're so protected. The Most High will give you peace. Peace that surpasses all understanding. And all you got to do is reach for it. Remember the good old days. Remember the good times. And get back up again. When you fall and you feel like you're at your lowest, get back up again. Type in the comments, I'm getting up. I'm getting up. Type that in the comments, I'm getting up. Get back up again. And if you have to start over, you can do it again. Remember, when you first started, it might not have been much. But you'll get there. You'll get to where you need to be. Because the Most High is carrying you. He's going to make sure you're good. You're going to be great. I thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm at the end of the video, guys. Yes, I am. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video. Let everybody know that the Diva has another video. Peace, love, and light. Remember that you are called for such a time as this. You are chosen for such a time as this. And that's on period. All right. Talk to you guys later. Peace, peace.